Hello, dear friends. This subject is easier to define than to apply to the real world. Opinion piece. The power of natural law. The law of the Creator prevails. War is not natural law. Movement of freedom and sovereignty. Humankind's laws are nourished by the divine law. Natural law could cancel all debts. Russia decides to accept Bitcoin for international trade. OPEC Plus approves a sharp cut in oil production. Spain to host one of the 6 European quantum computers. Let's start. We all know that above all laws is the idea that one should not kill one's neighbor, that one should not steal from him or impede his freedom. Abraham, Noah, Moses, Jesus Christ, Mohammed, and all religious leaders knew this. With the secularization of coexistence and governments inspired by these religious commandments, human rights and their protection were born, such as the English Constitution of the 13th century, the Virginia Declaration of Rights at the time of American independence, or the Declaration of the Rights of the Humankind, of the human being, after the French Revolution. According to Voltaire, the first law of nature should be this: to forgive each other are foolish. In Aldous Huxley's view, war is not a law of nature, or even a law of humankind's nature. It exists because humankind wants it to. And we know from history that the intensity of that desire has ranged from absolute zero to the ultimate frenzy. The Greek philosophers were the first to elaborate the doctrine of natural law. In the 16th century before Christ, Heraclitus spoke of a common wisdom that pervades the entire universe when he said that all humankind's laws are nourished by one, the divine. Aristotle distinguished between two kinds of justice. A rule of justice is natural in that it has the same validity everywhere, and does not depend on whether we accept it or not. And the rule is conventional or legal in that it can, in the first instance, be fixed in one sense or the other indifferently. Debts. Debt is a subject that many of us don't like to talk about because it is often stressful to think about how much debt we have. Says Paul L. Chang. Today, we live in a world where debt has become such a problem that it is impossible for today's generation to pay it off. The good news is that there are effective methods to cancel debt. One of them involves the power of natural law. This method is one of the most powerful, but it is not commonly used due to the fact that most people do not understand how to exercise the power of natural law. When it comes to debt forgiveness, most people like to hire lawyers and solicitors to deal with their debt problem. This may seem like a good idea, but when you know that the hidden role of lawyers and solicitors, whether they realize it or not, is that you agree to be an artificial person or a legal fiction so that the legal system can have jurisdiction over you. In the liberty and sovereignty movement, many people like to use techniques based on common law, statutory law, contract law, trust law, and corporate law to defend their rights and cancel debts. Some of the techniques are effective, but they are often too confusing for the various person to use and require a good deal of paperwork. If not done correctly using specific procedures, the techniques can even cause problems with the legal system. But most techniques are ineffective in cancelling and eliminating all debts, especially spiritual debts. To effectively annul and eliminate all debts, one must learn to exercise the power of natural law. which is the most powerful law that living beings can use to defend their natural rights and annul all contracts because it is superior to all laws created by human beings. Human law, such as customary law, statutory law, civil law, contract law, trust law, and corporate law, has some parts of natural law incorporated into it, but many of its laws often contradict natural law. Because natural law is superior to the law of humankind, when used wisely, it has the power to nullify all material and spiritual debts. In other words, it would be above all corporate or state rules, other codes, acts, statutes, and regulations, and human-made laws. Condonation. Why would natural law be able to forgive debts? All debts are based on fictional characters. In legal terms, fictitious characters are known as legal persons, legal fictions or corporations. A legal contract, such as a debt, often has more than one legal person, but the most important legal person is the legal name. Because all legal contracts and debts are based on fictitious characters, artificial persons and legal fictions, they would supposedly have no legal validity. However, they have legal standing due to the fact that the legal system deals with fictitious characters, artificial persons, and legal fictions. In other words, it deals with fictitious entities, so that the living being accepts to be an artificial person and a legal fiction, so that it can do business with you. The purpose of this is to drain your life force energy, so that the legal system can remain alive. It couldn't exist without the support of the life energy of living beings, because it is an artificial system without life energy of its own. The word lawful is used to describe something of substance or something that is real. As for the word lawful, it is used to describe it's a repetition. To be more specific, lawful is based on natural rights and the laws of nature. So, when you are in your lawful state and know how to exercise your natural rights, you will be able to annul all your contracts, but it is not as easy as it sounds. Definition. What is natural law? An 1889 Law Dictionary defines the term natural law using these words: the rule of human action prescribed by the Creator and discoverable by the light of reason. In other words, natural law would be the law of the Creator and can be known by the light of reason. Because of this, it is not necessary to go to school to know natural law. However, studying the knowledge of natural law in certain books and lectures helps you to become more aware of the knowledge stored within your body. In simple terms, natural law simply means that the law is universal and not human-made. It is important to know that it is a set of spiritual laws that govern the dynamics of the universe. Some people like to refer to it as the laws of nature. It is also known as God's law or cosmic law. One important thing to know is that it is not really a religious or scientific idea, because it has existed long before the existence of religion and science. In other words, natural law is neutral and is found in nature. The journey of studying natural law is very empowering because it teaches you how to be a truly sovereign spiritual being. It also teaches you how to exercise your spiritual powers and defend your natural rights using the laws of nature, which are binding, immutable, and inescapable, while living in a universe that is bound by time and space. Reset News. The UK will launch its emergency alert system in October, according to the BBC. Elon Musk has plans to expose who was behind the Nord Stream explosions that cut off gas supplies to Europe, as well as uncovering the uranium saga. The 209 countries of the world that wanted to participate in the global financial restart or reset, must get rid of dictatorships and become independent republics. Spain to host one of 6 European networked quantum computers. Germany, Spain, France, Italy, the Czech Republic and Poland are the 6 countries chosen by the European Joint Undertaking for High-Performance Computing to host Europe's first quantum computers, costing over 100 million euros overall and expected to be networked in the second half of 2023. The Bank of Spain lowers growth for 2023 to 1.4% and raises the CPI to 5.6%. Supply crisis. OPEC Plus approves a sharp cut in oil production. The reduction of oil seems to be a global response to the destruction of gas pipelines. You play dirty, you get dirty. The White House accuses OPEC Plus of aligning itself with Russia after the decision to cut oil production. The European Union caps the price of Russian oil in its new sanctions package against Moscow. Russia reiterates its readiness to supply oil only at market prices. More than 200,000 Russians have already been mobilized, according to the Defense Ministry. Experts predict that the oil cut would be a blow to the West. Venezuela describes OPEC decision on oil production adjustment as momentous. Germany's plan to curb gas prices faces opposition from other European members. Germany criticizes astronomical gas prices applied by friendly countries such as the US. The cost of the energy crisis to the European Union could exceed 1 trillion euros. Europe's winter will also be left in Latin America due to sanctions against Russia. The World Bank believes that Latin America will grow more than expected in 2022. Bangladesh national power grid collapses, causing a blackout for 140 million citizens. Taiwan wants that more than 30 Chinese fighter jets and 4 Chinese ships have been deployed near its coast. At least 10 climbers dead and 80 missing in an avalanche in the Himalayas. Financial crisis. Global financial crisis. David Mahoney talks about the last date of the Federal Reserve. Billionaire investor Ray Dalio is giving up control of his firm Bridgewater Associates, the world's largest hedge fund with $150 billion in assets. Twitter stock trading halted due to volatility. Trump sues CNN for fake news. Secret list of documents seized at Mar-a-Lago published online. Ocean shippers reveal a sign that the global economy is in dire straits. According to Kitco News, it is all over for the markets, and the Fed announces pain. We are seeing the market meltdown before the collapse, writes Max Sider. The markets did exactly what was expected according to the historical charts. The 2 biggest banks in the world, Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank, are about to fail. The entire Kuwaiti government resigns. The head of the Ukrainian central bank announces his resignation. People are rejecting the Great Reset at Davos, according to the X22 report. Job supply falls and the V recovery has peaked. China is a financial problem and CEOs warn of a recession. Russia decides to accept Bitcoin for international trade. Central banks are buying everything, writes Gregory Mannarino. The debt bubble is the biggest economic threat today, says Mannarino. Inflation continues to rise as the bond market experiences increased volatility. He says we are seeing the death of currencies. He expects a flight from currencies and a surge in real assets such as precious metals. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.